Underground Noise Webzine is back once again, everybody. As you know, I'm here with my co-host Rhino, and I'm your host Al Ditton. We're both with Underground Noise Webzine. And today we have the pleasure of talking with a one-man band himself, Sergio's band, that is My Dearest Wound.
Sweetness.
Seven hymns of depressive black metal at its finest. Welcome, Sergio. How you doing today, sir?
Everything great. Thank you for having me. It's great to be here and a pleasure to be on the show for the first time.
Oh, that's great, man. Welcome aboard. Nothing wrong with a first timer. Right,
Yeah.
Rhino?
That's true.
The first question I would like to ask you, Sergio, I was listening to your album and I was actually really struck by the very first track called When Did I Die? And that to me stood out to be my personal favorite. However, I would like to ask you, can you tell me a little bit more about this CD? What maybe your listeners or say maybe your fans don't know too much about? I know the lyrics are really depressive. Yes, they are as hell. But like I said, When Did I Die was definitely my favorite song off the whole album.
Yeah, of course. That's cool. So this is a project called My Dearest Wound. This is the third band I have. I have two other bands. One is called Rise to the Sky, which is doom metal. The other one is called Winds of Tragedy, which is black and doom, I would say. And then this is my latest project, which is depressive black metal, like you mentioned. And the album, yeah, it's quite depressive, and the theme is about that. It's called The Burial, and the idea behind it, it's kind of like a concept album. It's when you bury like that child you have within you. I in my music I usually talk a lot about personal experience, about grief, about death and things like that. But I wanted in this album to talk a little bit about when you lose your childhood, maybe to some trauma, to something bad that happened, things that happen to everyone, you know. I mean, when you're a kid, everything's perfect. Everything seems okay. You don't know about problems or anything, but then life, it's kind of cruel, and adults are sometimes kind of cruel, and you encounter some problems and stuff, and slowly you start to lose your childhood. Okay, so the idea of the burial is it's like a metaphor, you know, to bury your childhood. And this is why the cover, you know, if you look at it, it's kind of like a child image, you know,
Yeah,
buried.
yeah, I
Yeah,
definitely see that. You know,
that's kind of like the idea behind it. And the track you mentioned, When Did I Die? It's kind of a question. I mean, you get to a point in life, I guess I'm in that point in life where you kind of like ask yourself, how the hell did I get here? What happened to me? When did that other person die, you know? That's kind of like the what I was thinking about when I was writing this music. It's kind of like when did I change? How did I get here to this moment, you know?
that's awesome way to look at it because that basically answers my question. And I can't thank you enough for that awesome answer, dude.
Sure.
Rhino, what do you got, man? I got a few more questions, but I'm going to wait to see what or I almost called him Ryan. I'm going to see what Rhino will throw at you now.
All right. First and foremost, is there anything you would like to confess to?
Oh, like to confess to? No, I wouldn't say no. I mean, everybody has their sins, right? And we keep them deep inside. When I talk about my music, I usually try to get those things out. It's not things that we talk about, but I mean, no, no, nothing to confess, nothing bad, at least not at this time.
Nice. Nice. Now, in depressive black metal, do you feel it's just the lyrics, or do you find a different instrumental writing style with it?
Yeah, I think it's both. I mean, the lyrics are quite straightforward. Themes are often about self-harm, suicide, depression, things like that, right? But also the songwriting and the music, it has kind of like a melancholic vibe, I would say. And the rhythms, everything, sometimes it's aggressive, Sometimes it's a little bit more atmospheric, I would say, and it kind of sometimes it feels a little desperate, kind of like the mood that you have. I mean, when you have depression, I guess most people that listen to this music and that write this music, I mean, they've suffered to depression or something similar that at some point of their lives. And it's like that, you know, I mean, you have ups and downs, you're angry, you're sad, you're happy one day, you're super happy the next, and then the other day you're miserable. I mean, the music kind of like reflects those ideas to the lyrics also. Yeah.
So kind of like mental illness is what you're saying, you know, kind of like a person
Yes.
that would be like manic depressive or say bipolar disorder #1, as they put it out here in the United States, because that's where we live. Rhino lives in Baltimore and I'm in Georgia. Baltimore's in the state of Maryland.
Yeah.
We're trying to
Yeah,
kick
for
it out.
sure.
Yeah.
Kick it what?
Yeah, we're trying to kick Baltimore out of Maryland, but we haven't been successful.
Okay.
Well, they better leave the Orioles alone, because if that happens, you're leaving state, Rhino. I could see it happening to you now. Let's play baseball. But let me ask you this question, Sergio. I was going to wear my Immortal Damned in Black t-shirt today, but I couldn't find it in time. So I'm supporting my friend in Catharia and his band. His name's Matt Powell. Big shout out to Matt Powell. Thank you for everything you're doing. Keep up the excellent sickness that you do. But what I would like to ask you is, like, would you say that your band sounds a little bit like Immortal, say Marduk or Gorgoroth? Because those were the influences that I could gather from when I was listening to your music. I was like, wow, he sounds like Gorgoroth in this spot, but in this spot he sounds like Marduk. Sometimes you sound like Belphegor too. And I'm not referring to the Belphegor with the letter F. I'm talking about the letter PH. So who are your musical influences, Sergio?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And actually, I heard that before, Immortal. Like it was an influence, and some people could hear it in the album. But I mean, to be honest, I haven't listened to much Immortal, I would say. And maybe the reason why is because my influences are more depressive, suicidal, black metal, DSBM. And maybe those bands had influence from Immortal, but I mean, at least not me directly. I would say that most of the bands I listen to and my influences are, I would say, like Begotten, I'm in a Coffin. Well, Sorry, it's also a band that I listen to a lot, and it's a big influence. And then just general death doom metal, that's always been sort of an influence. And believe it or not, a lot of classical music. I listen to a lot of classical music, and maybe in some of the most atmospheric parts of the albums, you can kind of catch those melodies and influence. A lot of Bach, I would say, like German, German classical music, Wagner. I also like it. It's, you know, classical music is super tragic, and opera also is super tragic. So I mean, there's a big influence there. But yeah, I mean, all of those initial, I mean, black metal bands, I guess, are kind of like the basis of everything that we do today in terms of post black metal or depressive black metal. I mean, yeah, for sure. I mean, that's kind of like the basis, you know?
That's really cool, because I love Immortal. They're one of my favorite all-time black metal bands, and they always will be. So I even heard a
Nice.
little bit of Dimmu Borgir influence. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that symphonic black metal band or not, but you do have
I
some
know
parts that kind of are similar. I'm not saying they're the same, but they're kind of similar in a way. Yeah. But you
Yeah,
sound really good, and I just realized that you're a one-man band, right? For this project?
yeah. Yeah, so I write all the music myself and I play all the instruments. But for the drums, I usually try to work with a professional drummer just because in this case, I work with Nikola Dusmanic. He's from Serbia, and he's a drummer that has a lot of experience. And I mean, he has all the recording equipment and everything. So I really wanted to give that part like a special part, you know, in the sound. and I wanted to be like really professional. Drums are a big part of this type of music, so I usually write that part, but then I let someone else play that. Everything else is me. Yeah, everything else is me. I record and write all the music, but yeah, I get some help from the outside to production also. I mean, my sound, I try to keep it as professional as possible. And I work with a producer from Greece. He's called Philippos Koleopanos. He has his own band, Ocean of Grief. It's pretty well known in the doom metal scene.
I've heard
And
Ocean of
he's
Grief.
also, yeah, Ocean of Grief. Yeah, it's really good. It's a really good band.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so yeah, he's a pro and he's been with me since the beginning, not only in this band, but also in my other projects. So we have a good working relationship. So really nice guy too.
That's important, man. It's good to have that bond between your bandmates, because if you don't have that bond, the chemistry is going to be broken eventually. And nobody wants that, you know?
Absolutely.
It just wouldn't be worth it. I mean, all the efforts would be going down the tubes.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
Rhino, you got some more questions?
Yeah, first let me say I think during the pandemic, the project bands that popped up, from online work, really helped and saved a lot of people locked inside. They still got to write and work with different musicians. So, but my question now, do you have any paranormal experiences and anything you'd like to tell us about?
Oh, this is a great question. And it's the first time that somebody asked me something like that. All the time, I would say. I mean, everything is a signal, right? But going back to your comment about the pandemic, this is true. I mean, everybody was locked in, everybody was writing music, home studios were like booming everywhere, and it was a great time to write music, I would say, and especially for this type of genres, right? Doom metal and depressive stuff. We were kind of like in our uh, we were like very comfortable. At least I was, locked up and with all the time I could have to write music. I mean, it wasn't bad for me. On the contrary, I mean, I could have all the time I wanted. I mean, that despite of, the pandemic being something terrible and people dying and everything, right? But yeah, in terms of being locked up, kind of like yeah, my general atmosphere. And about the paranormal activity all the time. I mean, we always have signals. Well, I lost my father like 2 years ago on 2021, and since then I felt, I mean, his presence in many ways, in my dreams, in my day to day. So I would say not in a scary type of way, paranormal activity, but more in like a spiritual way. I felt his presence many times. And now that I am a father, I have a son that has 1 year old. He's 1 year old. I feel his presence all the time, and a lot of coincidence happens. So, I mean, I'm not sure what's out there, but paranormal activity is something that I believe in. Also, there's a place here in Chile. It's the tallest building in South America. It's called Costanera. It has like 60 stories or something like that. But it's also a place where a lot of people commit suicide. There's been more than 25 suicides in that building, more than 70 attempts to date. And it's near my job. I mean, where I work, and I pass by and I go to that building very often. And yeah, you can sense kind of like that. I mean, despite all the shopping and being a happy place where people shop and they put happy music, I mean, if you know the backstory, you kind of like sense that graveyard feeling in that building. I've done a lot of research about this, and I've been kind of like obsessed about this idea of this suicide building. And actually, my next album for this project, My Dearest Wound, is gonna be around that topic. It's gonna be about that building and to understanding why someone would commit suicide in such a place, a public place, somewhere where everyone, I mean, it's full of people, like thousands of people visit every day. And then you throw yourself and commit suicide in the middle of all that. It's kind of like a public statement. It's really strange and so often, you know, it's not once, twice, it's 25 times. I mean,
Wow.
that's a lot. Yeah, it's crazy.
That sounds pretty
So,
fucking
yeah,
morbid if you ask me.
it is.
Yeah,
It
it's
is, but
crazy.
it's crazy, but at the same time, I mean, why don't we talk about these things more often? Nobody knows about this. I mean, how are we preventing this type of behavior? What is going wrong? I mean, in my country, in Chile, that we don't speak about these things. I think, and I truly believe that music and I mean, talking about these topics and it's important. I mean, we need to do it. If I mean, I'm not promoting suicide. On the contrary, I want people to have something where they can feel comforted about. You know, they can feel some comfort. I mean, they can feel identified. You know, people are going through bad times. Everyone. I mean, everyone has suffered abuse, bullying. They've suffered bad experiences, and they don't know about it. When they're at that point, they feel alone. In my particular case, I found comfort in music, and I'm sure that other people, I mean, I know of it. They write to me like almost every day that they feel comforted and you know, like they're not the only ones that are suffering at this point in their life, and they find comfort in music. So why not address that through our music, right?
Definitely. You think you're going to go to the building writing this new album? You think you're going to go there a little bit while you're writing?
Yeah, I mean, I visited quite often. I've been there almost every day this year and taking pictures, doing some research. I've talked to other people and artists that have worked around the topic too. And also, I mean, I try to understand the psychology behind it. I mean, I'm not a psychologist, but I'm interested in the topic and I would like to understand more why someone would do something like that. Yeah, yeah, I visited, and it's gonna be a part of the album. I mean, it's gonna be a big part. It's gonna be on the lyrics. It's gonna be on the artwork. It already is. I mean, I'm already writing it, and yeah, it's gonna be interesting, I think. Yeah.
You know, back to when you said that your father passed away. I'm sorry
Yes.
for your loss. My father passed away back in 2019. It'll be 4 years coming up, actually, on the 29th of this month.
Sorry
So,
to hear that.
yeah, me too. You know, life goes on for us, but we got to let go of
Life goes
somebody.
on. Yeah, but music is an important part. When my father died, I remember it was in the pandemic. We had to do his funeral with, you know, limited people. You know, not everyone could go because of the, you know, they had limit. I mean, you couldn't forums, they call it, right? I mean, you couldn't have more than 20 people in a closed room because of COVID and everything, right? So it was we buried him, we did the funeral, and then we had to go home and be locked up again. And I remember that weekend, uh, I mean, being locked up in my home, and I mean, my father just died, and what I did, I went straight to the studio and I started to write a song about that, and I did write it, and it was a way to express those feelings at that time, and I ended up writing 4 albums on that topic, but with my other project called Rise to the Sky, which is doom metal, and it took me 2 years. I mean, I just released this year the last album about that. I called it the Grief series, and the last album is called 2 Years of Grief, because I mean, for 2 years I grieved and I wrote music about it, and then I just wanted to close that part of my musical, you know, writing, and then I started to work on other stuff. And yeah, I mean, these things happen, and they happen to everyone, and they're super often. I mean, everybody will lose someone at some point of their lives, and everyone will suffer from it, and it's a part of life, and nobody talks about it enough, and or expresses it enough, at least in my opinion. So these are subjects that are interesting, important to me, and I think that we should talk about them more. We should do more art about it. We should try to find ways to cope with it through art. It helps.
Excellent answer. Excellent. What you got, Rhino? You got any more questions?
Okay, you got to give up one of these three: sex, drugs, or music. Which one are you getting rid of?
Sex, drugs, or music. Okay,
That's
music
a
would
good
be
You got to
the
get
last
rid of
thing
one.
I give up.
I like
would
that
be
question.
the last thing I get rid of. But drugs wouldn't be really hard because I don't do many drugs. I did not not at this point in my life though. Only depression drugs, but I mean to fight depression. But I guess I could do without that. And yeah, sex is also something that I wouldn't want to give up. So yeah, I would say drugs. Yeah, I'm not in a point where I'm an addict or anything to do anything. At least, well, I don't know. Maybe I am. I don't know.
I was going to tell you, just
But
bust out the
yeah,
cannabis, you'll be okay. But
no, but
everyone's
recreational
different.
drugs are not a thing for me. Just medication to fight depression and well, that's helpful. But I would give it up. I think if I have to. Good
Nice.
question.
Hey, I was going to ask you, Sergio. I'm familiar with some of the Chilean metal bands that are down there, like Iconoclast, Homicide, Atomic Aggression. Are
Nice.
you ever planning to do shows with those guys? Maybe sometime in the future?
You know, I would love to. I'm too focused right now in writing music and with my own label, Tragedy Productions. Tragedy Productions. That keeps me so busy, and I'm working with a lot of bands, Chilean bands too, releasing their music. So all my attention now is in writing music and putting music out there of other bands. There's a lot of Chilean good bands right now that are doing good doom metal and good black metal. I can mention, for instance, Lascar. It's a one-man band that is working with my label. It's fantastic. There's also Condra, a band with young guys doing old school black metal, really good too. Morning Dead, that's a doom metal band that's doing great things. I mean, there's so much new talent out there and so much to give and so much art and albums that, I mean, it's kind of like overwhelming. Live shows for me are something really interesting to attend to, but at the moment, I'm just too focused on other stuff.
Hey, that's cool, man. You got to take your time to make it right. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's
true,
true. I
exactly.
mean, just to cheer
Yeah,
you up, I'm going to give you an air hug in memory of our fathers that have passed. So, air hug to you, my bro.
air hug to you too, my friend. Sorry for
Awesome.
your loss. It's difficult, I know.
It is, but let's make the best of what we got. Let's
Yeah.
pick a new topic here. I was talking about the band Atomic Aggression. I've listened to a little bit of their stuff, and I got to give those dudes some credit because they hit hard. They slap you in the face a few times, and they'll make you face China backwards if you're not careful. How can that be prevented? But at the same time, my friend Tammy, that's her favorite Chilean death metal band, and she's one of my friends on Failbook. Shout out to my friend Tammy. But seriously, how would you prevent yourself from getting smacked in the face too many times with all these notes at once? And which ones do you find to be perfect for your songs? Like, how do you find out which notes are going to make the song what you want it to be?
Oh, that's an interesting question. It's very technical too. Well, there's a very straightforward way of writing music when you're trying to sound a little more melancholic and depressive. Usually use like minor scales and things like that. Uh, but also you need to be very cautious of how many notes you use. I mean, for this type of genres, doom metal and atmospheric black metal, depressive, you need to be careful of what type of notes you use and how many. I mean, our thing, or my thing at least, is not playing too many notes and fast scales and fast solos and things like that. No, I'm more careful about the delivery. I mean, you need to deliver those notes very heavy, very aggressive at some points, and also give those pauses so that it kind of like creates an atmosphere when it really when you get the punch, you know, or the slap of the music, it's something that really slaps you. I mean, it's like kind of like a big slap, you know.
Kind of like
And
a
then
blast beat to the face. You
yeah,
know?
exactly. Yeah. And
Rhino
then those
likes the
blast
blast
beats, I
beat.
mean, yeah, you like blast beats? I mean, that's my favorite
Yeah,
thing too.
blast beats rule.
True,
Rhino
true.
likes to get blast beated in the face. Don't you, Rhino?
Oh,
Sorry.
I'm more of a motorboat type of guy.
Hey, that's even better yet, bro. Whatever floats your boat. Sheesh. That's great, man. That's totally great. You know, I had another question and it slipped my mind, and I was gonna give it to you, Rhino, for a while.
All right. First question. We have a couple on advice. You know, as technical as death metal is, what advice do you give a kid that wants to start playing?
Oh, well, I mean, yes, it's very technical, but I mean, my personal advice would be just to try to enjoy what you're doing. I mean, for instance, I know that I'm not in any way the best performer in any of the instruments I play. There's always going to be someone that's better, faster, somebody that has more experience, that has a better drum set or a better guitar or whatever. But you need to really put your passion into music and enjoy it, and just be true to yourself and to what you want to hear. Don't try to copy someone else. I mean, you can get your influence, but do your own thing and with passion, and the results, I think, will come, and you will feel really good about yourself, about doing, I mean, and expressing yourself in a way that maybe nobody else can. I mean, a unique way, your own way. I mean, you need to follow your own way, and don't worry too much about the technicality, and maybe more about expressing yourself the right way and perfecting that. That would be at least my advice. So, you know, I'm lazy. I don't like to practice that much, but I'm more of a delivery guy. I mean, you need to deliver a message, and I
10
think
minute
that's the most
warning.
important.
All right, let me throw out another advice question. Doesn't have to be musically related. What advice would you give to your 10-year-old self?
Oh, to my 10-year-old self. Wow, what a great question. I'm loving these questions because they're really existential, you know? You know, I would tell my 10-year-old self, maybe when I have my son that is 10-year-old, when he gets to be 10 years old, not to worry too much, not to worry too much about what people say. Just try to do your own thing and try to follow your path and your passion. Don't get caught up in what other people say, small things, and what this other friend or whatever happened to you. I mean, these things in the long run won't even matter. You won't even remember them. And probably they're more important to you than to the person that told you that. So don't even worry about it. Don't let it get you down, and just follow your path and your passion. Do whatever you want. I mean, take advantage of your life and take the best out of it, and don't expect everything to be nice and comfortable all the time. Life is suffering, life is full of problems. This is part of life, and we need to learn to live with them and to embrace them. You can take good things out of bad things that happen to you. You can take advantage of your opportunities. So yeah, I mean, just take it all in and be strong. It's more than one thing, but I think I have a lot of things to say to my 10-year-old self and to any 10-year-old kid out there.
That's awesome, man. You
Yeah,
rock.
I'd say pick up the phone is one thing for me because you know you might get that phone call from a loved one and not answer it, and they might not be here tomorrow.
Exactly.
Yep. Tomorrow's never promised, right? Kind of like how
Absolutely.
Lizzie Borden put it at one time, tomorrow never comes. Great song, by the way.
Lizzie Borden was never in a band.
I'm talking about the band Lizzie Borden, you should know. Excuse me, I gotta go clear my throat. I got a little scratchy throat today, and allergies are beyond the wazoo.
Oh.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah, he's been listening to Limp Bizkit a lot, trying to sing it.
Eat me, Rhino. Eat me. You know you want just like you want Aaron Lewis to suck on your dick.
Who's Aaron Lewis?
From Stained, the most whiniest band besides,
Oh.
yeah, the one of the whiniest bands I've ever heard besides Limp Bizkit. Quit making me talk shit about a band I can't stand, dude. Come on. We're gonna really gonna fuck this.
Come on, show those bad vibes.
Yeah, fuck Fred Durst. Sorry, I said. No, I'm not sorry. Fuck Fred Durst, for real. Fucking with a pitchfork. I don't care. Fuck what people think. But I was gonna tell you, Sergio, back to when we were talking about putting the right notes in the songs. Can you explain to me what a ghost note is?
A ghost note.
Have
I'm
you
not
ever-
really sure what that is.
Okay, I wasn't
But
sure if you ever heard of it.
No, I don't think so. But I can imagine that. No, I have no idea what it is.
Yeah, I've heard that term so many times, and I'm thinking to myself, well, is that when you hit it, but you don't hit it, or if you just play it without a pick? Because that's what I do with one of my songs. And I got a friend that's in a one-man band as well. His name is Brendan Jackson. Shout out to Brendan, being in Nightmare Crypt, and also his one-man band, Fetal Embalmment.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. And he talks a lot about ghost notes.
No, I mean, I'm just saying he's a one-man band, kind of like you with what you're doing with My Dearest Wound, which like I said, I was really highly impressed. I didn't expect this to come out of Chile, South America. I was blown away,
Yeah.
literally.
Yeah.
I mean, if
Chile
you're
is not
I
known
thought
for
Ghost
this
Notes
type
were
of-
letters to Tobias.
Sorry?
I thought Ghost Notes were letters to Tobias Forge.
Oh, I don't know about all that, dude.
You're writing notes to Ghost. I mean,
Sorry, I had to do it. Damn it, right now you're so corny today. I love you for it though, bro.
You guys are funny, huh?
Yeah, we like to make this show a lot of fun. We don't really
You
want to
make
be
a
serious
good
too
duo.
much. Thank
You
you.
guys make a good duo. Yeah.
I was going to ask you real quick, Sergio, are you subscribed to the channel?
I am gonna, if I'm not subscribed, I'm gonna subscribe right now, and I'm gonna start checking all your videos because it's really funny. Yeah, you guys,
Yeah.
you
I'll
have a
tell you.
good interaction.
I'll tell you something. He throws some really funny questions at times, and then there's times where I'm just like, huh? And I'm lost for like 2 seconds. Then I figure out what question I was going to come up with. I'm like, oh, now it came back. Cool. It's like, blah, 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 blah. Rewind a little bit ways, man. Don't be going fast forward 25 times a day. Because when you take your time with something, it's going to be better. Like you were saying, you got to, make sure you want to do what you want to do and make sure it's right. Because if it ain't right, and if somebody doesn't like it, well, fuck that person. Seriously, if nobody likes it, just keep doing better until you get better. No one's better than anybody. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah.
And
so Al, can I steal your question?
it depends on which one.
Can I steal your question?
Coffee
right.
coffee grounds or tea bags?
No. Al loves this question. Phone number only fan.
Oh God, you're terrible. That's your question, Rhino. Come on. The dude's probably got a wife, man. But do you watch porn? I hate porno.
Never heard of it. We didn't lose them, did we?
You're like, I didn't
What
lose
was the
my
question?
water.
I didn't get it.
Oh, Pornhub or OnlyFans?
Pornhub or OnlyFans? Ah, okay. Yeah, I know both sites. Yeah, they're both really good, but I mean, I don't know. I guess Pornhub gets the job done. I mean, it's just, yeah, it's free, it's fast. OnlyFans, I guess, it's for celebrities, and yeah, it's kind of boring in my opinion. Yeah. I guess
Shame on
Pornhub.
you, Rhino.
That's
I'm
a
kidding.
worldwide known site, and yeah, I mean, it gets you, yeah.
Well, there's no shame
gets
in
the job
our
done.
game.
I mean, we're
True.
talking about things
It,
that everybody does and doesn't talk about. I mean, yeah, this is
Al
one of
doesn't
those.
talk about it like 5 times a day. Oh, sorry, Al.
Hey, you're fine right now. I'll just give you this crazy looking eyebrow. How you like me now?
All right. If you had to credit one band or musician with inspiring you to play music, who would it be?
Peter Steele from Typo Negative.
Heck yeah, my man.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
Fist bump big
Yeah.
time on that.
Fantastic
Peter Steele.
songwriter, fantastic music. I mean, he was groundbreaking at the time. Yeah, he made his own, I mean, unique thing. Nobody can, I mean, you can listen to a song from him today and you know it. I mean, nobody can do anything remotely similar, in my opinion. I mean, he has his unique style. Nobody sounds like that. I mean, just unique.
He's totally irreplaceable. You know, you can't replace Peter Steele. That's like trying to replace Dio with say Ozzy Osbourne, but it wouldn't sound the same because Ozzy's been cutting out on shows lately because he's complaining about his illness. Could you blame the old bastard? No. Too many drugs will do that to you.
He looks, he looks like he's at that point where, I saw him live. I think it was around 5 years ago, and he was already, you could tell that he was struggling. Yeah.
All right. So we are back. Fun question here. You get to bring one musician back from the dead, but in return, you have to sacrifice a modern musician. Who do you bring back and who gets the axe?
Holy crap. Well, I don't want to sound repetitive, but I mean, in the top of my head, I would bring, of course, Peter Steele. I mean, that would be my first choice. I would love to see what he would have come up afterwards. And who would I kill now? Maybe your friend, Fred Durst.
Yes! Thank you!
I wouldn't mind, I mean, if the world didn't have him. I mean, I guess.
Hey, I'm mind blown over here, man. I'm speechless.
I think I'd go with Barbara Streisand. I don't even want anything in return. Just take her.
Well, I'll tell you something, Ryan. Whenever we meet in person, I'm giving you my Barbara Streisand vinyl. You can have it.
Why do you have it?
Because I just wanted to put him in a record collection just because. Throw people off guard when they're looking through your shit, dude. Oh, you got that on vinyl? Oh, you got Barbara Streisand? What the fuck? That's great.
The furthest they'll go is Barry Manilow or Rod Stewart.
You know, if I was going to bring somebody back from the dead, it would be Chuck Schuldiner. And if I was going to sacrifice someone, I'm glad you're asking this question because I'm gonna elaborate on this because it's a cool question. Now, if I was going to sacrifice somebody, it won't be Fred Durst. It's going to be Lars Ulrich from Metallica. I hate to say it, but he's a whiny little punk. He's short as hell.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't like Lars that much. He's just, I don't know, he's really arrogant. I looked at Metallica nowadays and, dude, they're just too hard up on themselves. I mean, I don't like people that have that rock star, cock star attitude. But at the same time, have you ever met any musicians that have given you the cold shoulder?
You know, a lot of people don't like Lars. Yeah, that's. Yeah, I guess he's not very likable, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the one that brought the short hair and makeup into the equation.
You know, you look at Kirk Hammett, he does look like a female, and it's like, are you sure that's Kirk Hammett? Oh God, what have you done? No, not that, dude. You're like,
show me that ass.
yes, you would want. Hey, Sergio, you have a guitar nearby?
A what?
Do you have a guitar nearby?
Yeah, I have a few. Yeah.
Awesome. This is a segment called Show Me Your Axe. Show me
Your
your
what?
battle axe.
Ah,
Show me what
okay.
you play with, man.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let me get it. Just a second.
Take your time. It's going smooth, Rhino.
Smooth,
Like butter on bread.
like
Okay.
Barry White.
Okay, guys. So this is the main guitar I use for riffs. It's a Jackson. Yeah,
That's
it has
beautiful.
7 strings. It also has passive pickups because they're better when you're doing some riffs. I don't know why, but it just sounds thicker when you're doing the mix and everything. And it has 7 strings, so it allows me to go like lower with some riffs and some stuff like that. It's a really cool guitar. It's not that expensive and it does the job and it sounds pretty hard. So yeah, I really like it. Yeah.
Heck
Jackson
yeah,
does
bro.
great
Nice.
guitars.
Yeah,
Yeah,
heck
I
yeah,
only use
dude.
Jackson or Schecter.
Yeah, that's a rad guitar. I have a 7 string too, but mine's not even as and it the body is white, but the headstock itself is black.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yep.
let me show you another one. Just a sec.
Cool.
I think my Orioles are losing, and I'm not happy about this.
You looking at the TV at the moment?
Yeah, the Orioles are playing.
No.
Okay.
Well, let's go Orioles.
So this is the other one I use. It's a Schecter. It's called Hellraiser. And I use
Oh,
this one mostly for the solo work, for leads, guitar leads. Got a really nice color. It's kind of like a purplish mixed with black. It's really nice.
that's nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
and it has EMG pickups and yeah, it's just a regular 6 string, but it sounds great, for solos and things like that. And when I saw it, I remember in the store, I looked at it and I was like, what the hell is that? I mean, and I really liked it. And I said, I need to have that one. So I saved up some money for a few months. And then I went back to the store and it was still there. And I said, yeah, this has got to be mine. And I played it. And like 5 minutes later, yeah, I got it. Yeah, I really like it. But I love this guitar actually. And
I was
it's
going
been
to
with
tell
me
you,
since the beginning.
Sergio, she's a beauty.
Super nice. Yeah, Schecter
Yeah.
also. Really nice brand. They make great guitars. Jackson and Schecter are my favorites. I really don't use any other brands because I don't know, they just don't do it for me. But these two brands are, yeah, they're really good and they make the guitars I need for my music. Yeah. Let me
Yeah,
just drop this thing off.
speaking of guitars, I was going to say my favorites are Gibson, BC Rich, Ibanez. But I would like to ask you, have you ever thought about making your own guitar? Like, say you want to build your own guitar someday? I thought about
Don't
one.
do it.
No, don't do it. But I'm just saying, have you ever thought about it? Because at one day in my life, this was a few years back, I thought about making my own guitar and I wanted to make it 32 frets. I mean, can you
That's a
see a
good idea,
32
actually.
fret guitar? Kind of like Jared
Yeah.
Dines, that Mountain Dew guitar rip off or
So
whatever.
you want it to go like really high or really low? That's the question with your notes.
Yeah, know your limits, man. Know what you feel comfortable with. What do you prefer?
Uh,
You prefer 22 frets or 24?
uh, I mean more than frets because I usually don't go that high. I like to have more strings and more bass strings. So yeah, I really like the 7 string and maybe an 8 would be cool too. And yeah, making my own guitar, maybe not making it, but maybe personalizing it, like working up with specific pickups and maybe specific brands, colors, or making something like personalized. That would be really cool. I know some luthiers that, I mean, they build their guitars, and I mean, it's an art. It takes years, maybe decades to become a good luthier, and yeah, it's something I really respect. So I wouldn't dare make my own guitar, but I would certainly like someone to do something personalized. That would be really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I could definitely see your artwork being on a guitar. You know, you could definitely put your artwork on a guitar, man. You should do it.
Yeah.
That would be
I
epic.
should. Oh, yeah. It's a good idea. Yeah. I haven't thought about it. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad I could pitch that to you. So, hey, here you go.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome, my bro. What you got, Rhino? You got any more questions for Sergio?
I love this question because I get some really cool answers. All right, you get to take two musicians or bands. They can be past or present. You put them in a studio and they have to produce one album. What musicians are you putting in that room?
Okay. Good question. Let me think about this. Two musicians or two bands? So I
Right,
would really
past
like
or
to
present.
yeah, I would really like to hear a mix. I really like this band called Shape of Despair. They do Funeral Doom. And I think the vibe they have, like the instrumental stuff is great. But I would love to hear that with DSBM vocals like I'm in a Coffin. So I would mix those two. I would mix Shape of Despair and I'm in a Coffin and I would see what comes out. It would be like Funeral Doom mixed with DSBM. And I think it would sound great. I mean, two of my favorite genres together, that would be really cool, I think. Really sad
Nice.
and depressive, although.
Hey, if it gets you to smile, I'm smiling with you, bro.
Oh shit,
Yeah.
Al, you forgot to tell me to take my head warmer off.
Oh yeah, where's the beat,
I'm
Nick?
getting a head cold.
Oh, my bad. Sorry, home biscuit.
Home biscuit.
That's right. Hey Sergio, what's your local music scene like? You got a lot of bands in your area?
Yeah, well, Chile is very busy in terms of metal and the scene. It's almost a must-stop for every international metal band that comes. I mean, we have a bunch of bands coming this year to Chile, and the crowd is super supportive. You know, uh,
Heck yeah, dude.
you, yeah, and there's also a lot of good musicians here, but obviously the support is never enough. This is why I have my label because I want to support more musicians, and I don't think it's ever enough to. I mean, the support is never enough for the all the talent that is out there. But yeah, the scene is super busy, and I don't know why, but metal is super popular here. I mean, all genres, not only doom and black metal, but I mean everything that you can think of. It's yeah, it's pretty busy here, so I can't complain about. I mean, about this. We're in the other side of the world, in the bottom maybe, or in the far south, but everything gets here. Yeah, it's
I got
pretty cool.
another question for you, Sergio.
Yeah.
Concerning different bands that are in your country, which I've always been interested. Like I was telling you about Homicide, Iconoclast, just to name a couple or so. Do you know if the band Becky Gok or say Violator are still around? Because I still have a poster that says Violator and Hexagram. I got a Hexagram poster. And Hexagram to me is like thrash metal, but at the same time, it kind of reminds me of like old school Creator because of the vocal sound. Almost like a
I
black
think
metal screen.
Yeah, I think Violator is around, but yeah, they're old school, right? No, I haven't heard about them in a while. Maybe they are, I'm not sure. I would need to find out. No, but what I'm listening today, I mean the bands that are really doing stuff today are, for instance, Soul Sister. Soul Sister is a band that does black metal, top quality, really, really good. That one would be one to put an eye on. Weight of Emptiness, that's one that's sounding a lot today that have been doing new music and stuff. Nox Terror, black metal band too, really good. Well, Lascar, yeah, and I would say those are the bands that I'm listening today. And well, Poema Arcanus also, that's like a classic band, doom metal, and they're still in the scene and very active. Thrash metal was a thing back then. there are still a lot of bands that are doing it. Criminal is a very well-known band that has an album that I think it was 2022 that they released it. That one's pretty active and it's been active for a while. And yeah, there's then a bunch of other bands that probably I don't know of. And the city is very active. But as I said, there's never enough support and there's so much stuff out there that it's difficult to keep track of.
I'll tell you something, Sergio. I've always told everybody there's never enough music. And isn't that the truth? You know, I have one more question, then I'm going to hand over to Rhino for a little bit again. I know some people here in this world that listen to music, fans, bands, musicians, whatever, you know, such as ourselves, have like a top, say, 100 favorite bands, or say top 50 or top 10 or whatever. Out of all those bands, for you, who would be number one and why?
So right now, I mean, it has changed through the years. But right at this particular moment, and overall, I would say My Dying Bride would be one of my favorite bands. Maybe the top one because of their history, all the albums they've done, all the music they produce, and how active they've been throughout the years, and all the quality stuff they've done. And yeah, I think that would be my top favorite band at this moment. Yeah, My Dying Bride.
That's really cool. How about you, Rhino? Who would you say is your number one favorite band?
It depends on the day, depends on how I feel when I wake up.
Yeah, I've got quite a few.
I mean, I've been a long-term, you know, Misfit, Samhain, Danzig guy. Pantera, of course.
That's cool.
Cro-Mags, gotta say,
Oh yeah,
love and support the Harley. He had to cancel his tour. So,
right. Well, for me personally,
all right,
I'm just gonna put one up there, and it's gonna be
right there.
You're looking at Cam not away. I'd shoot him far and you'd be hit in the face with boogers. No, I'm kidding. Anyway.
Don't worry. I'm happy.
Yeah, well, you're in the way. And you're my main target. Watch out, you know. Kidding. I'm kidding. But anyway, number one for me, honestly, it would be Cannibal Corpse, because I've been listening to them the longest besides Suffocation. Go ahead, Rhino. Have at it.
All right. All right. So the South American metal scene, what do you find most unique about the metal coming out of South America?
It's aggressiveness. It's super aggressive. South America, I mean, it's very diverse, but we have a lot of things in common. And most of us are really angry. And I think that's reflected in our music. Most countries have suffered a lot. Most people in those countries have suffered a lot of tyranny, by bad governments, people stealing. They've had a really bad time, and a lot of people are pissed off. And you can tell that through our music. Maybe not in my particular case, that's not my main characteristic, but I would say that in general, Latin America, you can tell people are pissed off.
You know, it's funny that you say pissed off, because it's better to be pissed off than pissed on, unless you're Rhino. He likes that.
Oh, yeah.
Golden shower, Rhino?
Yeah. I try and get stung by a jellyfish on purpose just for that reason.
Are you sure they're not Swedish fish?
I'm sure.
Those are gummy bears. What else?
All right, Sergio. So you've played a range of instruments. What was the first instrument you picked up?
Guitar. Yeah, guitar was my first instrument. Yeah.
Is there an instrument you'd like to learn to play that you haven't yet?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, I would really like to understand how to play the cello. I've always enjoyed the sound of the cello, and yeah, I think it would be something that I would like to learn. But I mean, it's difficult to get your hands on one, and it's expensive. Yeah, but that would be also something I would. Also, the lute. Do you know that instrument, the lute? It's like an
Mhm.
old guitar from Germany, or it was used in the Renaissance and then in the Baroque times, and it's kind of like a guitar, but it has like double chords, and yeah,
Mhm.
that would be interesting to play too, to play like ancient music.
That's really cool. You know, speaking of cellos, would you happen to be a fan of the band called Apocalyptica?
I know them. I used to
Yeah,
like them a lot. They have
I
a
love it.
bunch of good stuff. Yeah, but I don't listen to them anymore, I would say, but they're really good. Yeah. Yeah. I used to listen to them a lot. Yeah.
I remember when I was first introduced to, about that band, and I was like, those are cellos? There's no fucking way. Those sound like distorted guitars. What
Yeah.
was your first impression of Apocalyptica, Rhino?
Tough to say. Tough to say.
I mean, at least
I'll
in
have
that.
an answer in 20 minutes.
Okay, well, I was going to say at least in that hyperactive speed power metal known as Dragon Force.
Yeah, that's a little weird for me.
Yeah, it's too fast, and to me, it sounds too cartoony to me.
Yeah, but that's their goal. They're into that stuff.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
they can have at it.
Virtuoso playing.
It's just not my cup of tea, and I'm not going to knock somebody for what they like listening to. But I will say, I'm sorry, for me, that band sucks. Just being honest.
Right. Now, Sergio, there's a band that just randomly came across my Spotify at the gym out of Brazil. Blew my mind instantly. Wondering if you've seen them. Ratos de Pario.
Ah, Ratos de Porao. Yeah, they're a classic. Yeah, I mean, they're really good. They're old school and they've been around for many years. And yeah, you know what Ratos de Porao means?
Something basement rats, cellar rats.
Yeah, yeah, basement rats. Yeah, in Portuguese. Yeah, that band is very aggressive. Yeah, I would say that's a classic Latin American or South American sound. Yeah, really good.
Yeah, I mean, I loved it out the gate. And I mean, that song, it's an Aglo America, or I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but it was specifically about the pandemic. And it was just deep and dark.
Yeah, yeah, they've been active for so many years. I mean, as long as I can remember, everybody talks about Ratos de Porão, and they've always been there in the scene, like in the underground. They're kind of like a legend.
Yeah, seeing her videos, I kind of get scared though, because that singer is so obese. I'm just waiting for him to fall over on stage.
True, true.
I don't say that in a mean way. I mean, but it kind of looks like it's going to happen at any moment.
You know, kind of
Yeah, well,
reminds me of that
maybe it will
song.
happen.
That takes me back to that song by Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory. Your Oompa Loompa Doompity Doo. If you were wise, I'd stay away from you, or something like that. I don't remember how it goes. I just
Yeah,
screwed them up. But yeah, that's fine.
the
Sergio,
Oompa okay.
I do have a quick question. Unless Rhino, do you have another one?
I'll come up with one at some point after.
Okay. Sergio, say you're going to
You
travel with
singing
your.
Willy Wonka.
Okay. Sometimes it's like that. Maybe it's necessary. I don't know. This is what the show's all about: randomness and goodness and music. You know?
What was the question?
And pure evil.
Yeah, sorry about that. I'll get on with it. The question is this:
Oh,
say you're going to go to a foreign, continent, say Europe, and you're going to go on tour with one of your bands. How many languages are you fluent in?
oh, so three: Spanish, Portuguese, and well, English. Yeah, any of those three.
Okay, I figured I'd ask it out there. Have you ever thought about studying any other languages?
Yeah, I like French, maybe. Yeah, that would be interesting. No, on German, of course. Yeah, German only to understand what the opera singers sing about and to
What
understand
they're so
what.
angry about.
Yeah,
That whole
yeah,
language
what they're
sounds like
so mad about.
they're pissed off.
Yeah, it's kind of like how Rammstein, when they came out with Du Hast, you know, they're full of hatred.
Yeah. What does Du hast mean? I have no
It means
idea,
you
but it
hate.
sounds
It means
cool.
you hate.
Lost me. Hate me.
Yep. That's
I'd be pissed off too if the average word had 5 syllables. Like you're repping something something Stein. Oh, that's a chair. You know.
We're gonna ram the Stein up against the table and break it in half. Here we go. Wait, that's a million pieces. My bad.
I have concerns.
Sorry, I snorted. That was funny. Unexpected moment in Underground Noise web scene. Oh, and get this. I almost forgot to say thank you, David Polito from the Metalist PR for setting this interview up with Sergio and Rhino and myself. We really appreciate it. Thank you. Unless
No,
it's
that's the
deed, I have no idea.
You can't put an E on the end of David and not pronounce it.
Yeah, unless it looks like divide without DIVIDE. Just saying.
We'll just call him Bob from now on.
Bob. That's funny. Well, I can't think of anything else at the moment. What you got, Rhino?
Yeah, I'm still in brain fart mode. I'm having a great time.
Okay. Hey, Sergio, I got a quick question. Would you like to show Rhino the booklet to your My Dearest Wound CD? Because I won't be able to do it with this green screen.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, the artwork for this album, it was made by Natalia Drepina. She's a great artist. She has a lot of talent, photographer, and she's also the model behind the artwork. The booklet is really cool. It also features her photography, has, all the lyrics and everything. Yeah. And
Wow.
it's really quite something. Yeah, she's a really professional artist. She did this artwork specifically for the album, thinking about the concept. She had the songs, she listened to them. We talked about the concept, about how to put it there, and she just came out with this, which is kind of like burying a child. This way she doesn't like show her face. It's kind of like a childlike figure that's being buried. Hence, the album is called The Burial. So yeah, she really nailed it with this one. I've worked with her quite a few times in other things, music videos, in other albums, and she's super talented. If you want to check her stuff out, it's Natalia Deprina, and she has a bunch of photography and artwork out there, and it's super bleak and yeah, super beautiful at the same time. Really nice stuff.
It's really dark and leaves a lot of mysterious, things for the listener or the fan that's looking at that. Because when you look at it, you're just like, what's going to happen next?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that kind of photography. I did live photography for a while. And especially if it's a small venue and there's no photo pit, a couple $1,000 in cameras and the pit's literally running into you. So, yeah, now I prefer photo shoots rather than live stuff.
All right.
I can't draw worth of shit, but digitally I'm there.
Here's a question that I don't ask very often, only because sometimes it doesn't come to me in time. But Sergio, what was the very first?
No, Allie's already married.
I know. Stop interrupting. Damn it! You're gonna have to eat raw bacon for a week now. Yeah, raw bacon, Rhino. Have at it, will you? Okay, Sergio, what was the very first song that you learned how to play on guitar? Do you happen to recall?
Black Sabbath. It was let me remember. It's this one that's really well known that I'm not remembering now. What's this Black
War
Sabbath?
Pigs.
No, the other one.
Iron Man?
Iron Man.
Iron Man. Yeah, that one. That was the one. Iron Man by Black Sabbath. That was the first one.
10-minute warning.
Okay. It's a cool song. Well,
Yeah,
Black Sabbath, they're the greatest. They've done so much stuff. They created a lot of the things that we do today, it's a major influence for everyone today doing metal. I mean, yeah, they're kind of like the ones that invented most of the stuff that we do today, right?
So you're telling us that they're the caveman of metal,
Could be.
pioneers.
And doom in a way.
Pioneers sounds more appropriate, but I call them cavemen anyway because they're older than us.
So, you know what I find with albums, the smartest thing you can do as an up and coming band is to write a song that's easy to play. Because then the kids, when they buy their instruments, they're going to be playing and listening to your stuff because it's an easy song that you can start learning.
That's a good
You
point.
know, like
And it's
Iron
very
Man,
logical.
Metallica. Yeah, it's,
You know, Metallica, I mean, that's something that every kid plays. I mean, everybody wants to
yes.
play those songs, and yeah, I mean, and they're kind of easy to learn, and a great way to start playing guitar and stuff like that, and they sound really good. So, I mean, yeah, it's a good point. Yeah, haven't thought of that before.
Just follow your heart.
Yeah,
So keep going, man. My best advice that I can give you.
Yeah, the one thing I noticed, like before the internet, the bands would always put their name in like their first song. That way you have it on some copied cassette and you can remember who the band's name was because they put it in their song.
That's a good point too. Haven't thought of that too either. I just thought it was kind of cool to have like your band name in a song to say, okay, this is what my band is about, and if you wanna understand what my band is about, I mean, you listen to this song that is called exactly like the band name. You know, I just thought that was the idea, but not. I didn't think of it from a PR point of view, but it makes sense, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, the old school days of copied cassette tapes.
Yeah, I remember those
Yeah,
old
you know,
mixtapes that people would make too, Rhino. You remember how people would make like a mixtape of, say, it was a bunch of different death metal bands or say black metal bands or whatever. You and that damn
Yep.
so-called band.
If only we could fly.
You're fired. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I pulled the "you're fired" thing. That was good. That was good. Got to give some props on that one. Shit. Well, gentlemen,
Man.
6 minutes and 52 seconds. So, Rhino, if you got another couple of brief questions, I got a couple left, which will be the final ones.
No, go with yours. My Orioles just lost the lead.
Well, that's bullshit. Go Yankees. Well, anyway.
What?
You know, I'm a New Yorker. Give me a break. It's not my fault I was born there. Ain't that the truth? Okay, Sergio, what would you like to say to your fans out there that might be checking this video out today?
Oh, just thank you for listening to my stuff, to my music, and giving it the time with everything that's out there and all the bands that are out there and all the music that is out there every week. I'm just grateful that you guys are listening to my stuff and paying attention and writing messages and everything in social media. I'm always available for you guys. I mean, if you want to write to me, talk about music in Instagram, Facebook, I'm always available. So feel free to do that. And thank you for all the support you've given me to my music, to this project, and to Rise to the Sky and Winds of Tragedy. I really appreciate it. It keeps me, I mean, it helps me keep on going and maintaining this music and this projects. So thanks.
You're welcome. I love what you do, Sergio. And parting words with Underground Noise Webzine and Rhino and Al, you got any final words for us?
Stay cool, stay relaxed, stay hydrated.
Not you, Rhino.
Beer works great.
You're not the guest, Rhino.
Oh, damn it.
We got some mega bloopers in this. This is gonna be fun. Go ahead, Sergio.
Yeah, just thank you so much for everything, for having me here. It was a pleasure to talk to you, Deaton, and to Rhino. I mean, You guys are pretty cool, and it was a fun conversation. So, I mean, I really appreciate that you took the time to ask me these questions and let me talk about my music. And I really hope you enjoyed the album, and let me know your info so I can send you some merch from my label, Tragedy Productions.
I'm gonna give you a real quick review myself. 9 out of 10 horns.
You just put up 4,
Yeah, well, that's good enough.
2 technically.
It can be fixed.